So I figured I'd show you some of my setup here. Name's Damon, by the way. These things up here, if you haven't seen them before, I found quite far out in near a warehouse, just sitting on the side of the road. Picked them up. Yeah, got a lot of chests, not a whole lot of warehouse parts, just for claiming it. Got elevator set up here. This is sort of my workshop, but some vehicles were getting a little large. There's all the chests. We got it all underneath, so I can grab it from down below and make it up here. And another elevator going up. But the main thing I want to show you is some of the vehicles. Let's start off with this one. It's gasless, runs on the bearings, as you can see here. The second set you see here doesn't really make a difference on speed. This is what makes it, these 5. That's your max speed. For each one's compounds of turning, so it'd be 1 times speed, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just one bearing though, you pretty much can run faster. It's not that worthwhile. But the reason why you see it sitting here with the secondary set is just because I found when I was out and about, sometimes you're not paying attention, they take out your axle. So if they end up taking out this axle, I can still run on that one. And if you don't know, these and pistons that you see, they don't have collision, so that's why I got this thing going through. Because if I just had just this one here, it would bend quite a bit, whereas this gives me more stability, having the shocks out here. So these just end up running right through that because it has no collision. That's why you see nothing connected. If you connect it to there, this thing will be flying around and it'll be a hassle to get. But it works pretty good. I think 5 works pretty well. I got a lot of weight on the front, so it doesn't kick up. But yeah, just my Explorer vehicle. Has a ton of chests and works pretty well. The steering's not bad. More weight would make it better steering, but if I let go of the gas, I can skid. So, works well enough. And of course the bed, which is a definite requirement while you're out looking at stuff. And then here's my miner, of course. I got all my collectors here in the back. Runs off gas. This doesn't steer all that well because all the weight's in the back. I could make more weight in the front, but for the purpose what I use it for, it's good enough. I just let go of the gas to do the turning. But this works pretty well, and these all run on controllers, these things, as you can see here. Oh. So yeah, I got the drills on controllers, but works pretty well. Comes down, put some pressure on it. It's a pain in the ass, like it doesn't matter what one you have to get these ones on an angle. But these things work, they grind by the edges, not by the tips. That's why I got so many of them, so I can sit there and grind through it. As you can see, it's pretty quick. Since the patch, it seems like these tires are more slippery. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Yeah. I'm gonna just drive over it, collect up the parts. And I found it worked pretty well. So far it's the fastest one I've made. I don't need the engine that fast, but Yeah, with this setup, when I come down, it just puts all the weight on the front and it's level. Alright, show you this one over here. I had a different one, which is over here. It ran off, requiring you to lift up, which this is the setup here. I stole a bunch of parts off it. I don't have the pistons in the back anymore. But I had this coming straight up, a bunch of saws coming off it. I used these, which I got from the warehouse, to wrap around it. Worked really well for grabbing and whatnot. And then it would just tip down and I would drive over it and it would saw everything up by pushing the button and using this slimmed down wishbone suspension. Slight variation on it to get it to work right. But it was laggy as hell. So I switched it over to running underneath. But this setup here, it was just a little too tall. It wouldn't always grind all of them up due to that factor. So this is the newest one I just recently made. Set up this way and just put the blades in the front. The reason for this block here is just to get enough weight because the springs are either too soft or too hard and it wouldn't get low enough to grind the stuff that I needed. So I had to put a bunch of weight here. It rocks quite a bit, but that's for a purpose, which I'll show you. And of course you see all these things in the back, and I got a secondary button so I can just turn and flip them. Keeps it nice and small and compact this way. But unlike my other one there, I can carry twice the amount. Let's do just a quick show. Let's get a bigger tree. Whoa! Everything's flipping out. Haven't had that done in a while. What in the hell? Huh. Haven't had that happen yet. Anyways, unlike the other car, these ones actually run off of the electric engine. And the reason being is I found pretty much had to max out the controller to get the speed up enough where the saws actually work. Unlike the drills where it doesn't matter the speed, they still work. I don't have to come out from this direction, just makes it easier. As you can see, it just grinds it up. And this is the reason for the rocking, is so it cuts up a little bit. Oops, sorry. And I can drive up on top of it. Because yeah, with the rocking and the speed up high, then I can just jump up on top of the log. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Damn. The only thing about having the... Oh, didn't get that one. The only thing about having that those saws that far out, it sometimes grabs onto the land and you can't drive well. But yeah, that's that one. Not a whole lot to it. A lot of different connections, as you can see. And this hole here is just so I could gain access to the controllers. Don't really need it. Yeah. Other than that, you can see I got some trailers here. And you're probably wondering, how did I get those? Well, just like a few other things you might have seen. It was actually from a mod that I put in, just like those on the workshop. You just got to edit the file just like for the seeds I added it. And yeah, the only reason why with the test patch it didn't break is because they're an in-game item. But I just haven't put them back in, so I can't craft them. Just like these over here, the corners. Hopefully they add mods back to the game. It'd be nice. But you're probably wondering on this. You've probably seen it if you watch a lot of the videos. That's Khan's setup. I had built this trailer, and then I wanted one for picking up farmers, and I was looking to creating this setup, and then all of a sudden I seen Khan had made one that day. And yeah, perfect setup. I might change a few things. I added a light to it so I can, if I'm doing it at nighttime, I know where exactly it's pointed. And yeah, this just extends out if you haven't seen it. Turn it on. It gradually goes out and in. And of course I can raise it, which I'm going to switch some of these probably over to the same piston style for going up and down. And yeah, works pretty well. Grabs everything. I can turn and whatnot. Oops. Turn that off. But yeah, this is my trailer setup. I got these pistons running through this logic gate to this, which once I back up to a certain position, I'll lock it. These just retract, which works nice. I got a bearing on here, which then just locks into this here. I got these from warehouse, just so that way if I'm not dead on center, it'll move it to the center block. And I cut this out, which I'll show you why, and this is low, so I didn't need to add extra bearings or turns or nothing. It works pretty well. But yeah, it runs on gas, a couple of controllers just to run a few odd things. As you can see, I put this down, then I back up into place. Hit the button again. And there you go. Works really well. And of course, having it set up like that, I can make any kind of turn, just like regular trailer. And then, like I said, for that cutout, I'll just show you here, put that in there. See, I can get quite an angle before it hits that. And then it's the same on the back. Back up a bit so you can see. So yeah, minimizes the amount of bearings. Works pretty well. And what else on this thing? Oh yeah, all my vehicles, I put lights on them, and I got them attached to that other piece for steering, so that way I can see when I'm steering into it. Oh yeah, since I use this for delivering all my growing, I got actually a chest in here where I put everything I'm gonna take for packaging, and I push my number 2 button, which then opens this up. So when I drive up, it just pumps it out, and I got it set up to the number 3 button, so that way it all pumps out at a certain rate. I found 750 milliseconds works. I just hooked up to an AND and an AND gate in series, so the NAND goes to the AND to the timer and back, and the AND the button hooks up to the AND in the seat and to this thing, and it pumps it out. I find though it'll keep shooting out, so make sure to only put in what you're trying to package. Otherwise once it stops packaging, if you're not right up tight to the delivery vent, it'll keep pumping out the other stuff and destroy all the beats you're trying to put in. And with this setup, since I got it hidden, I got to get it really close. So you got to watch it. You got to make sure you can press that thing. But you can shoot it from a distance, so I just take out the stuff that I'm not trying to package. And then just disconnect, which puts that down, and I drive off. Works rather well. And the only other thing to show you, which we'll back up to. Oh, stupid thing. I haven't finished this, but I was trying to make a better way to reutilize this vehicle on a more modular setup. So that way I could have that Explorer vehicle on a thing like this. I don't have any of these logic gates locked up right now, but I did, down to some pistons underneath. And let me just get this in a little bit tighter where it's supposed to be. Okay, so it's against there. So right now I just got the pistons hooked up to these two buttons because these were working somewhat, but not the way I intended. So all I do is make sure I'm backed into location. Hit, I think it's this one. Yeah. Pushes it into place for the most part. It's better if I'm here trying to make sure I'm backed in. Then push my one button, which then locks it into place. And just retract. I'll get this working sooner or later. But yeah, I planned on getting my Explorer vehicle and chest and whatnot onto something like this, because now it's easier with the test to get gas and glue and whatnot, because they added in sort of what a mod did, which gives you some variance. So I've seen up to, I think it's four, maybe five that you can get out of gas geysers now, and 4 on clams for the glue. I haven't seen it though on the paint for the flowers, unlike the mod, but maybe just bad luck. I haven't really been running around doing it. But I can also put this one back, let that detract, use this button, just make sure I'm backed into place proper. Puts it right back into place. We'll get that better automated later. Yeah, that's it.